It's that time of year at Fred Meyer and so many other places where garden stuff is out on display, and I am so excited because it just gives me that feeling of spring is here. Spring is so near. I could feel it in my bones. So I was looking actually for that kind of mottled looking potato. They didn't have it. I think I might have some. So I'll try to dig it up and see if I have it somewhere at some point in time. But let's take a look here and see what they have at Fred Meyer's. Um, and this is the garden section of the store. If I want to, I could buy some potatoes and leave them somewhere warm and let them sprout. I know that's not recommended, but I've done it before and it worked like a charm and I did not have any disease. But I don't reuse the same soil from year to year. So that's something that's really important to me is that if I use something for potatoes one year or tomatoes, the next year I use it for flowers or something different. And I don't even do a rotation. I just basically dedicate that soil to a perennial that I grow there from that point on. I keep getting super tempted to buy like wisteria, but I've seen some nightmare stories. If I do it, I'll put it in a pot. So I didn't buy it, but it was growing very vigorously, which is a wonderful, beautiful thing, but also kind of a scary thing if you think about it. Hi, friends. This is Aubrey. This is Crybaby Settlement Homestead. I can't speak. Blah, 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 blah. Good morning, good day, good afternoon. I'm taking a look around to see what do they have here in Fred Meyer's, and they have quite a lot. And I was tempted by a lot of these items. I showed some restraint. I keep saying that we have the authority to walk away. The gnomes with the red hats are so cute. I did grab some things here today. I didn't grab everything because I have a lot. I've got a lot of different flowers, and I'll show you some. I've got some flowers sprouting already in the garden. It's looking so beautiful. And I have more seeds than I could tell you what to do with it. There's just so many. I have so many seeds. And it's not my favorite company right there, but to each his own. I have some seeds that I purchased from them in the past, and I will still plant them, but I have my favorites. I love Baker Creek. Um, I love True Leaf Market. So, and my gardener. I've got some favorites, and I'm pretty much trying to stick to them unless there's a variety that I just don't have if I can't find it with those places. I do like this brand here a lot better than the other one. I don't want to disparage anybody, so I'm not saying it aloud, but they have quite a variety here. You could come here, spend literally $20 practically, and you have a whole garden. Like, seriously, you don't have to be crazy like me about the seeds and spend like every penny I have. All of my entertainment money and like whatever that's for me is for this, right? That's basically how I spend my spending money. This is so beautiful. It's primroses. And so I actually like to grow common evening primrose, which is like the non-cultivated wild variety that's huge. And I did pick some up of these primroses at another store recently, but they had just so many different colors. They're so pretty. And I noticed that I planted some primroses in like a little Mr. Stacky last spring, and they are still blooming. Like, they bloomed all winter. The foliage didn't die back. I mean, there were a few that were I got from clearance or something that didn't make it, but most of my clearance plants did make it. I think they got them for like $1 each because it was like 6 for $5 on the clearance rack. They looked pretty harsh and they bounced back beautifully. They looked gorgeous. And I'll show you those another time when I'm going to plant these. But I love that sherbet looking orange. It reminds me of childhood. It's very nostalgic. And I know some of the colors don't go together, but I'm kind of mismatchy in my style. I just enjoy what I enjoy. And I'm not too worried about what other people think. I think that's kind of liberating, to just enjoy what you enjoy and not do it for somebody else, but do it for yourself. And I mean, if you're doing a Mother's Day basket for somebody, obviously arrange it for the person that you're arranging it for. But if you're buying a plant for yourself, it doesn't have to match. It doesn't have to be like color coordinated. It's nice if it is, but it doesn't have to be. These planters here, $22.99. If you price it out, even with the cheap price of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, like if they're $2 each, and then you go $14 for the primroses, and then I think those might be tulips or daffodils. I'm not sure. Um, and then you think about the pot. So you have the value of the primroses, which is about $14 worth of plants in there, if I counted correctly. And then you've got like probably $4 or $5 worth of whatever those are, the bulbs that are in the middle. Then you have the soil and you have the pot. It actually would be cheaper to buy it in the big round pot for $22.99 than to buy them individually and put in the soil and pot them yourself. So actually, like, it might make that feeling of, oh, $2. Now, the one nice thing about buying them individually is you can choose the ones you like. Like my friend Reba from The Gardening Artist, she has her own channel. She bought one of the smaller containers, which is $14.99, not $22.99. And then she also, I'm not sure if she bought the big one too. I bought the big one, and I really am happy with it because there's so much space. But she didn't like the red primrose that was in hers. And I mean, I don't care if it's mismatchy. It doesn't kind of go with the colors, like if you're an artist like she is and you're worried about it. I like these, like, kind of old fashioned. They actually look like roses when they're unfurling. But if you're choosing them one by one, you can be very particular which ones you want. But if you're just looking at how many plants you got, it's cheaper to buy the one that's $22.99 because of how many plants you have in there. And I also think there's plenty of space. These here, I think it's cyclamen. I'm going to put something at the end here because I'm really interested in growing these. But these are the kind that would be for your house plants. And I think I'm going to go with something a little bit different. So I'll show you what I do later. But they had so many different choices here, and of course they've got more expensive plants, but you could make a beautiful annual garden from what they have. You could put a couple succulents. Those, I would use those as houseplants personally. I've got hens and chicks outside. I wouldn't risk those outside. I think I'd keep them indoors. But hens and chicks would be great outside. Once you get one, you can get like 100 because they really reproduce so quickly. Isn't that pretty pink? Isn't it pretty in pink? So lovely. I just think it's such a cute idea, like at bridal showers and baby showers, to have like the gift to the guests be something like a plant, even if it's like a $2 annual like this. How adorable, especially if you're having a baby girl or something. Anyway, I've got babies on the mind. I've got a 3-month-old granddaughter, and she's pretty in pink too. And so you can see here what I got. So I've got some of the ones that are like 1 by 1, and then I've got the round planter on the bottom. I did take a look over here at the herbs. Like, the last thing I need is another herb because I've got so many herbs growing everywhere. But I wanted to be able to know the name because I kind of lost track of which cultivar each one was. So like there's the Greek oregano or whatever. I'm like, I have oregano. I'm not sure if it's Greek oregano or German or whatever. So I thought, it'd be nice, put them in some pots. I was just saying, thumbs down. Don't do carrots. I don't know why anybody would buy carrots and then transplant them. Please don't do that. You're going to have the craziest looking roots. They're going to be edible, but they're going to look crazy. Maybe you can put some pictures up about like the people. They look like little people dancing around because they do not transplant well. So back to the cyclamen. I kept circling back because I do want to grow them, but I don't want to grow them as a houseplant. I've got enough houseplants. I want to grow something that is more wild looking. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I usually do. If I see like a cultivated variety of something and I'm like, yeah, I just don't have room for a houseplant, I will research like that plant for a more wild variety, because most of these houseplants are cultivated varieties. And if you want something that you can grow outside, it just takes a little bit of research. So let's check it out. So I'm going to start off by searching for the cyclamen, and I searched for hardy cyclamen. So that's one of my tricks is when I'm Googling for something, I'll type in hardy, um, and then you'll usually find something that can tolerate cold more. And so this is by Southern Living. This flowering ground cover is ideal for planting beneath shrubs and trees. Then you'll notice that it does look different. Similar, but different. The flowers are not as big. Like the other flowers almost look kind of floppy. Like the petals are so large. So the foliage looks very similar. There's like this long stem, and then you kind of get that I don't know how to explain it. Kind of reminds me of ohinapalka. Ohinapalka is a flower that grows in Hawaii that's like half the flower grows on the beach and half the flower grows in the mountains. There's like this whole love story behind it. It reminds me of that because it looks to me like it's half a flower. Um and maybe it's just me. You can look up Ohinapaka. It is a Hawaiian flower, and there's like a love story. So it reminds me of that. So that's kind of why I'm attracted to it. And this one here, this resource tells us that basically, when you are looking at the um, cyclamen that you see at the box stores and Fred Meyer's or different nurseries, you're probably looking at like a botanist, kind of like it's cultivated and it's going to be a house plant or a short-lived annual or perennial. But this one here is a perennial, and it can live in zones 4 through 8. By the way, it is toxic to pets. I did some more research too. It's toxic to cats and dogs. I also searched to see if it's toxic to squirrels, and it would be. I'm not sure if squirrels would want to eat it. I did also see that some people said that some squirrels ate the like dug them up and stuff. And I don't know why we're not finding dead squirrels everywhere, because they do that with all different types of bulbs that are also toxic. So not quite sure about the squirrels. But what I'm thinking is that I will grow them in like hanging pots. And instead of having it as a ground cover, that I'd grow it in hanging pots. And then I could put it in specific areas where I don't have as many squirrels, where I don't see cats, and where dogs can definitely not get to them. Gives me control over where I place them. And it says part to full shade. So I'm thinking hanging pots underneath some of my fruit trees. So that might be a good way to give them shade, and also have them where I don't have, neighborhood cats or things. I want to protect the animals, but I do want to grow these. So I'm thinking I'm going to probably do hardy cyclamen. And then I thought, where could I get them? Right. And I did also look up, they are toxic to cats. Yes, they are toxic to dogs. And the pictures there, they're showing the botanical, like the ones that you would see at like a garden center, probably. You might have to search for hardy cyclamen. So I did look here, and it looks like you get 3 bulbs for $22.99. Not sure about shipping and handling. Those are so pretty, and these almost look like the flowers look almost as big, just visually. Maybe they're not, as the ones in the garden center. And it does say that they're really hardy, which means they can deal with the cold. Beautiful, beautiful. Now details. You can get more information here. Rose pink. They are bulbs. So when you get them, they're probably just going to be the bulbs, I'm guessing. They like or they can tolerate acidic soil. That's nice to know. It looks like they're not too picky on soil. And then they have, and I lied about my shipping zone here because I'm not trying to dox myself. I use the shipping uh, zip code 90210. Yeah, because I grew up like in the 80s and 90s. Um, so looking here, I did wanted to see because I vaguely remember buying saffron crocus from um, a place that had this windmill symbol, but it wasn't Brex because I typed it in and it didn't come up. So because I want to buy some more saffron. Now saffron has the edible stamen that's used as a spice. The cyclamen has nothing edible about it. Okay. Um, so then I looked to see what else. These here, okay, here's the other place to buy them is Spring Hill Nurseries. This is cheaper. It's $14.99. Same number of bulbs, so it's 3 of them. And again, I don't know about the shipping, but doesn't that look lovely? Wow. So pretty. Now this I might mistake for some things. I would make sure that I grew them like in a hanging pot and then have them labeled really good because that almost looks like a groundnut or like some kind of tuber. So I want to be very careful. That could be mistaken for some of the root crops that I grow. Oh my gosh, they're so pretty. And up close, wow. Okay, so I'm putting this on my wish list for another time, kind of along with the Lenten rose, um, because I have so many plants, right? I don't need them, but I want them. I want them. I want the cyclamen and I want Lenten rose. Um, Even though there's nothing edible and they are toxic. Like they're so pretty. They're so pretty. Um, am I saying cyclamen wrong? Pop comment if you think I'm mispronouncing it. So whenever I look at, like I'm looking at something at a garden center and I'm like, you know what? That's going to be grown as a house plant. I like it. It says annual. Is there a perennial hardy version of it? So that's what I do is I'll do a lot of research on it and often find that there is something like this here, like the hardy cyclamen. I would much rather grow this than grow the more cultivated varieties that people are buying as house plants. That's only going to live for maybe it says it's like short-lived perennial, so maybe a couple years, maybe 2 years. I don't know. Have you grown cyclamen from like just store-bought cyclamen? And if you have, how long did yours live? Did you grow it outside or inside? If you grew it outside, what zone are you in and how long did it live outside? Did you have any problems with animals getting sick from eating them? I don't know that they would be tempting to animals. I mean, I have so many things growing on my property that would be more tempting. Like I have hazelnuts growing. They like to attack the hazelnuts. They'll attack my sunflowers. Um, they will dig up certain things like the oca. Like I basically can't grow oca, which is a root tuber, because the squirrels dig them up. Even if I have them in pots and raised beds, they get to them. Even if it's in the middle of the yard and they have to run by dogs to get to them, somehow they figure it out, because I will come out and the whole raised bed will be dug up, and I could tell like little paw prints that either mice or rats or something, squirrels, they know they're there. I even put them on top of a stump, which I thought was super clever. But the oca are so attractive to them that they just will climb on up there and eat every single one. So, sadly, I might try growing them again and put like not chicken wire because that's too wide. They can get into that. I might do something that's a little bit finer, closer together, because I love growing oca. It's beautiful. Now that plant is beautiful. It's the foliage is gorgeous. It has somewhat edible foliage and edible tubers. This is not edible at all. So I really tend to sway towards, is it, useful? Is it edible? And on today's little shopping trip, I bought a lot of primroses, which technically the common evening primrose has some really special like uses. I haven't used it the way the Native Americans did, but the common evening primrose, it's the like ancient ancestor of primroses, and we've cultivated for so long. I'm not sure how much would be remaining in the plants that you buy at like Fred Meyer's. Um, so I would use the common evening primrose if I was going to use it medicinally. And I'm going to need to do some more research on that so I can explain. But I have so many seeds. I actually get the common evening primrose popping up like a weed all around my backyard because I grew it one time. I planted it on purpose. And I couldn't figure out. I was like, they had this kind of like rosette looking foliage arrangement, and I couldn't remember what I planted. It was biennial, so it took 2 years before it flowered. It had a huge stalk, beautiful yellow flowers all the way up it, very loved by the pollinators. And then it produced tons and tons and tons of seeds. Like if you've grown mullein and comfrey before, it kind of reminds me of those plants because it produces just an abundance of seeds. And, it's kind of like weedy, but also beneficial in some ways. I think the common evening primrose would work really well for permaculture purposes. Definitely. And then the cultivated primroses look so beautiful in the Mr. Stackies. I think the primroses and peonies and pansies probably are the best flowers to grow in a Mr. Stacky. They have the smaller compartments. Um, so I wouldn't go much bigger on plant size for those. I could also do like strawberries in the Mr. Stacky. It's plenty big for those. Um, but I do like the raised planters because you can have so many, and if you just turn it, now you see another side of it. So you almost redecorate it. And all you have to do is turn your planter, and now you've got all the yellows and oranges, and you turn it. Now you got the pinks and the purples, and so it's like you're, I don't know, like revitalizing your garden. All you have to do is turn your planter. So I love that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do the cyclamen. I didn't buy them this time. I didn't buy them at the shopping place, but at the Fred Meyer's. But I'm going to probably eventually get some hardy cyclamen. I just don't know. Like I think I wouldn't do an order unless I had something else I was going to get as well. I could also look on like Etsy. I do find lots of really great deals on Etsy, and sometimes you'll have like a vendor that has the other things that you're interested in, and you might get a better deal on like shipping and handling that way. So anyway, I just think that it's a lot of fun researching plants and finding out what might grow as a perennial in my climate. And if you live in a different zone, you could do the same thing. Like, you're looking for something that's hardy, or you want something that's heat tolerant. Like these are going to like more shady areas. So like this would be great for a shady garden. Depending on how much sunlight you get in your area. If you live like in Arizona, probably wouldn't do this one. I will look for something that is more heat tolerant and drought tolerant. So, you do you. Figure out what you like so much and how to incorporate it. And, like there are like cats in my area. Our cats don't go outside because we live by busy streets. We don't want them to get hit by a car. But I see like wild, almost feral cats outside. I don't want to hurt them. So I wouldn't plant these next to cat grass, right? I would plant them in a hanging pot. I had a hanging pot that had this plant. Okay, the plant, when I researched it, it was, I thought it was going to be like something you can chew on, whatever. And it's used that way in other plant. This one plant was in some cultures, and I found out it was carcinogenic. And I was like, no way. Okay, I'll just grow it as a pretty plant and not use it for anything. And it did grow very nicely. And the squirrels dug it up and ate it. And then I kept like repotting the bits that were left. And the squirrels, every time it grew, they dig it up and they eat it again. And I was like, are they gonna have like cancer? Do squirrels get cancer from the same things we get cancer from? I don't know. Is their lifespan long enough that they would actually see the effects? I don't know. So I would plant these in pots, and then I would put them like in areas where squirrels are not necessarily attracted to on my property. So hanging them from my cherry tree probably is not the best place because the squirrels love to throw cherries at me. So I don't want them to have that access. I might plant them underneath the gala apple tree that's in my backyard so that they're not in the same spot. And, I haven't seen squirrels in that particular area. I've seen rats, and I don't really necessarily think I care so much if I accidentally kill one of them. I don't want to be mean to them, but they do ruin some of my produce. So, yeah, I'm not trying to harm them, but I'm not going to be that worried. I don't think they'd be that attracted to something like this. What do you think? Pop in the comments. What have you noticed about the hardy cyclamen, and have I talked too long about it? Probably so. If I was just going to get one item, it would either be that one there, that orangish sherbet looking primrose, or it would have been the one that has, oh my gosh, it almost looks like fringe around it. It's so that one there, well, that one there and the carpet, the one that's in the big round pot. Um, I had to buy the big round pot because it had the best one of all of them. So, I mean, maybe I would have done the big round pot and that one orange one. But I couldn't help myself. I mean, I guess I could have, but I didn't want to help myself. I just wanted to get some flowers. And I did. You know what? I can buy myself flowers. Write my name in the sand. Yes, I really had a great time with my friend Reba, and we both went home with quite a few plants. And I was like, you know what? I spent about as much as you would spend on a really nice, expensive bouquet of flowers. That's why I say I don't buy me flowers like that. I would much, much rather buy living plants that are going to last a long time. And that's just my style. I want them to have roots. And if you buy me a bouquet of flowers, I'm going to try to root them to make them become perennials and make them come back again. I've actually done that with roses my husband bought me. I rooted and planted rose bushes from the roses. They didn't like, not all of them took, but like out of a dozen roses, I got one plant. And I was like, you know what? Next time, just buy me the plant. I don't care if it's blooming. It can be completely dormant rootstock, and I will see the potential and the beauty in it. And it means more to me to look forward to something. So it's like I'd rather have the dream and the hope for that beautiful thing to happen and see it again and again and again than to have a bouquet that I watch wither in front of me and fall onto the table, the petals falling. Kind of sadly, darkly poetic about relationships. So buy me a living plant. Jose, buy me living plants. No more cut flowers. Love you guys. Anyway, be good, be sweet, grow a garden if you want to eat, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.